So I believe 32% of those buyers right now only think it's a good time to buy. Couldn't be further from the truth. And I'd like to dig into that a little bit with you.
Yeah, and I have some realtor friends, and actually was at lunch with one of them just a couple days ago, and he told me, he said, I have people that they go in looking for a house, but they don't know anything about credit. They don't, have a job long enough. There's all of these things that go into it. Dominic,
Right.
would you say outside of 2008 that this is one of the weirdest times in the real estate industry?
Well, I mean, it's for me, I've seen a little more because I've been at it for a much longer period
Yeah.
of time. So I've seen a lot of interruptions throughout the course of time. To mention a few was, in the 80s, we had 23, 18, 16% interest rates.
Wow.
So that was a different time. And then, of course, we had the Gulf War. When that happened, that created consumer confidence issues. Everything kind of shut down for a while. The other thing I remember is 911. When that happened, that pretty much
Mhm.
interrupted everything for quite a while. And then in the crash of 2008 to 2013, so those 5 years, it was the worst that I remember. It was probably like the biggest depression in real estate. And then even when the rates were high, it was easier than in '08 to 13. And then the next interruption came when COVID first hit the scene in, I think it was March of 2020, when they shut everything down. So overall, again, if I feel insecure about what's really going on, like to give you an example, there's a couple things that I think are misconceptions. And as a leader and a local expert and a heart of a teacher, to try to explain to the clients that are out there that are not sure what to do, and this would be buyers and sellers. There's different scopes of it, but for a buyer, what's happening is the rumors are the rates are on the rise, which is true. The other thing is there's a lack of inventory, which means there's less choices for the buyer. And then the third thing would be, consumer confidence. Like I hear these prices are going up so fast, I don't even think it's affordable to buy a home anymore. So maybe I should just wait and see if the houses crash, prices come down. Maybe then I would do a potential buy at that time. So that's the perception. Okay. But the reality is there's less inventory. So the prices still are a little bit higher. I don't anticipate the appreciation factor being as high in 2022 as it was in 2021. However, it's not unaffordable because the rates are still historically low. The rates are actually 3.2%, which is like $4.25 for every $1,000 you buy. And the second thing that just blows me away is, believe it or not, you may not even know this, Jordan, but let's say, you're getting into the arena, your friends are getting into the arena to buy. And, so you got to get educated, right? So, a lot of people say, well, geez, I got to save for more down payment because, I want to lower my payments. And an interesting thing is, so let's say if you want to wait, I don't know, 6 more months, try to save another several, two, three, four, $5,000. We'll say 5,000. And let's say if you put 5,000 down on your mortgage, so you're delaying buying today because you're looking to save more money, to lower your payments, and just to kind of wait and see what the market's doing, right? Well, if the market continues to gradually go up in value, right? So in 6 months, the prices are a little higher. And let's say in 6 months, the interest rates are a little higher. So it's going to cost you more in the near future than it is today, even though perceptually it seems like it is. So for example, if you have $5,000 you're saving extra, how much will that lower your payment? So it's $4 per thousand. So 5 times 4 is 20. So if I save five extra thousand, it lowers my payments $20. So
Wow.
divide 20 by 31 days in a month. And you'll see, if you're educated and an informed decision maker, I promise you'll be thanking me. So that's why I think it's important for your listeners to dial into this. And if they ever want to know more, just go to dominicfonte.com or call me. I've been doing this a long time, and I know people say, oh, you're so busy. How do you do this? I'll be more than happy to sit you down with the heart of a teacher so that you become an informed decision maker. Because I promise you, when you look at people that build wealth that are average people, real estate is always in their portfolio. You know what I'm saying there, Jordan?
I completely understand that because I have friends who they might play ball at the pro level, or they are financially in a good spot at 25 years old, but
Wow.
the first purchase is always that $55,000 to $60,000 truck. And I'm like, why are we doing that?
Well,
Why?
you know, they have a bed liner and they got these cool tent kits now. You can
Yeah.
put a tent in the back end. You can live right in your truck, put a nice little bed liner in there. You'd be good to go.
But my thing is that is not a viable asset to own. Go out, purchase real estate. I don't care if it's a $25,000 home that's a fixer upper. Don't dump money into a truck that is going to lose $10,000, $15,000 worth of
Well,
its value as soon
well,
as you drive it off.
hey, Jordan. So the funny thing is, we all work hard and, it's like, well, I deserve this. I should just buy myself. I've been wanting it for 20 years, 10 years. So it's an emotional buy, and I'd say if you have millions of dollars, heck, buy whatever you
Yeah.
want and be happy. But in reality, when you think about the economy, the uncertainty of different things that are happening, so in general, when you think about life, you think about job security, you
Mhm.
look at the economy, you look at inflation, you look at the cost of living. So, what would be a huge benefit to a normal person, as long as you have the GPS or the map or the guide or the expert to guide you through the process? This is a huge hedge against inflation because you're basically locking in today 3.2,
Yeah.
right, on interest rates. And I mean, a young person would say, well, it was 2.87. What's going on with these interest rates? It's all the way up to 3.2. But if you're an older guy like me that's been around a while, you're like, whoa,
Anything
I
under
was
five,
happy
I'm
with
good for.
5%. But
Yeah.
it's all relative, so it's just a matter of kind of understanding what we're really up against right now. And that's why I like coming on the program because like I can relate to the reality of it, not the perception of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, you've seen it, and as a realtor, you build connections with these families.
Oh
There's
yeah,
there's a connotation. Well, they just want to get their commission. They just want to sell the home. People don't understand if they've never been through the process
right,
how long or how much time a realtor is actually spending with these families. You're all over the Northeast
right.
Ohio area. Hey,
Well, the thing is,
Dominic,
like,
we actually have to take a quick break here,
okay,
but
no problem.
we'll continue this conversation when we come back. And right now, you're listening to Spotlight on this Wednesday morning on 1480 WHVC.
What your age or education level, you may qualify for this opportunity. Stop in today or visit our website at omjwork.com for more information.
I struggled with symptoms like frequent gas and stomach pain for years.
I was bloated all the time with daily diarrhea.
At first, I thought it was what I was eating.
I kept thinking it was stomach issues.
So I did my research and talked to my doctor, and we finally uncovered the truth.
It was actually EPI. Exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, is a condition where your pancreas is unable to help break down your food.
It can lead to symptoms like diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stools.
And EPI symptoms can be confused with those of other common digestive conditions, like irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's, and celiac disease.
So getting to the right diagnosis meant being more open with my doctor about the severity of my symptoms and how often they were happening.
But there's good news. EPI is manageable, so don't wait any longer. Use the symptom checker at identifyepi.com and schedule a visit or call with your doctor to ask, could I have EPI?
Sponsored by AbbVie.
Do you have taxiety? That uncertain feeling before doing your taxes? Filing on your own or choosing the wrong partner can be stressful. Connect with Liberty Tax and then just breathe in and cash out.
Get $50 by filing before February 20th.
Go ahead, feel it.
Visit StopTaxiety.com to schedule your appointment and say farewell to the stress of tax season. Liberty Tax. Let's end taxiety. At participating locations, terms and conditions apply. See store for details.
Welcome back to today's edition of Spotlight with Dominic Fonte of Dominic Fonte and Associates in Cutler Real Estate. Dominic, we were just touching on a great part of that interview right before we had to take that commercial break. Do you want to pick it up where we left off at? And we were talking about people spending all types of money on, cars, stuff that loses value immediately. We can continue that conversation.
Yeah. So what you were talking about is some of your very successful sports friends and or just people that are successful entrepreneurs, which isn't everybody. It's a percentage of people. So of course they deserve to buy themselves a good reward. But in general, there's a dynamic balance between emotion and logic. So always when you're making decisions, you have to look at your current situation. So usually what I would do with people, if you're real impulsive, it's better to do this. If you're less impulsive, it's not as important, but you still should do it. And this would be a very simple exercise. Whenever you decide to buy anything, I don't care what it is, unless it's a belt or a purse, unless it's a super expensive one. But in general, if it's a car, a house, an investment property, do I continue renting? What is the option? So like I just give an example. So let's say I'm a renter. And I've been renting for a few years, 500, 600, 800, 1,000. The rents are going up quite a bit, actually. So for a period of time, that's usually good, because, maybe your health, you're in transition, things like that. So that makes sense, right? But in the long haul, if you're, thinking, okay, this is a transitional thing, it's acceptable, and that makes sense. But in the long haul, you'd probably want to do something more logical, would be invest in real estate. It's pretty affordable. But a lot of times I think perceptually versus reality is, if you're renting, you're like, well, what if the furnace breaks or what if the roof leaks? And, I don't want to deal with all that. I want the snow to be taken care of. So that's true. But when you buy a house, there are things you have to be responsible for. And a lot of times that's scary if you're not familiar with it. But I would have to say that the furnace doesn't go out every day, the roof doesn't go out every day. So it's not as bad as you think. But I always write the pluses beside one column. So whatever the decision is, I'm buying this nice Ford, Ranger, or this beautiful, whatever Discovery car that's 50, 80, 100K, which I see and is shocking to me. But unless you're going to live in it, they lose value immediately. And it's usually not the best use of money unless you have untold amount of money. So I would just say, whenever you make bigger decisions like cars or, furniture, housing, investments, you always look at what would be the plus to it. So you write down all the pluses that you can, based on your knowledge, what you think, and then what would be the negative to it. And so when you see the pluses and minuses, then you're making a logical, not an emotional decision. A lot of times when you look at a lot of stuff, it's kind of impulsive. I watch social media and I look at all these things and I'm like, you know what, I should have some of that.
Yeah.
Like I want an RV. Let's go get an RV. Yeah. So, I mean, it's not always really practical or a very good investment. And sometimes that's okay. But when you're trying to build wealth, provide for your family, or provide for your loved ones, a lot of times there's a lot of people now, trying to help their parents out. Yeah. It's kind of a funny thing. You struggle raising your family, then you struggle because you're trying to help mom and dad, then your kids go through a divorce or you have some hardships. So it's kind of like a weird dynamic, So it's a balancing act, but I always say it's good to stay focused on the pluses and the minuses so that you're always making a logical, smart decision so you don't look back and get buyer's remorse, you don't get anxiety. You stay calm, you stay relaxed and educated.
I agree.
You build wealth and you build peace of mind and stability. And that's what we all want, I think.
Yeah, for sure, Dominic. And I agree with the pros and the cons list that you're speaking of right there. Most of the time, the pros outweigh the cons, but some people might take into effect, all right, well, if I buy this house, I'm locked down in this area. And that always isn't the case. So, Dominic, we have a couple minutes here before we have to take a break. I just have to ask you, have you had some families, some couples that you've helped them buy their first house and then 10 years down the road, okay, we're selling that house to buy another house?
Right. So there's, if you think of the process, and you wouldn't know this unless you're in the trade like I am. So a lot of times you think, okay, my first time house, I'm so excited. And then some are like, okay, I'm going through a divorce. I got to sell and I got to move out. I lost my job. I can't afford to pay for my house. So there's all kinds of reasons people buy and sell. So it could be grandpa, moving to a smaller home, maybe in Florida, moving back to Ohio, closer to family and relatives and grandkids. So there's all kinds of reasons people do it. But right now, 50% of the first-time buyers are what's called millennials. So they're between, say 28 and 32 years old. And, so they're a huge part of the buying cycle. The other huge part are the baby boomers like me. I'm a young 62, but I'm just saying in general, you have all these people are like, you know what, maybe I need to think about downsizing and getting to one floor and then maybe even taking a vacation once in a while. Yeah. So I think what happens is, depending on where that client is, and it's, depending on what side of the spectrum you're on, it could be anywhere. So I think in general, the pluses and minuses help you to stay focused because since it's a very expensive thing to do, very emotional thing to do, I find that people do it timely, quickly. They second guess their decision sometimes, and then they have high anxiety. That's not the way to do it, seriously. And even if you buy a car, sometimes that happens. Or if you buy furniture or a new refrigerator, I mean, anything, it can happen with anything.
Yeah, I mean, there's always that instant regret because I'm growing up in this day and age of social media. So I know, right? Like Billy and I, we have this conversation all the time. People are buying these big elaborate things because they want to keep up with the Joneses. But at the end of the day, okay, you've got this nice vehicle that might get foreclosed, but you don't have money. So don't make financial decisions if you're not there.
Well, Jordan, years ago, I learned, so there's a book and I would recommend it. It might seem a little out of date to a young guy like you, but it's the principles are sound. The Millionaire Next Door. Remember that one. It's an easy read. The Millionaire Next Door, the principle is basically this. So a lot of times, perception is reality in our society, but that's not true. Like you might see your buddy, he makes $1 million. He has this fancy car, fancy house, nice clothes, jewelry, whatnot. At the end of the day, he's spending $999 of his million. So he's really a poor person. And then you might be saying, you know what, I'm making 35,000, and I got 10,000 in the bank and I'm doing pretty well. And so I think it's all relative. You live within your means and you try to reward yourself and your family on occasion so you feel good. But in closing for the commercial break, I would just say, I'm excited to finish the next half because we're going to talk about some selling things, some buying things, and I think you'll be an informed decision maker.
I'm really looking forward to it, Dominic. We'll be right back on this Wednesday Spotlight with Dominic Fonte and Associates in Cutler Real Estate. We'll be right back after this.
Hello, my name's Dominic Fonte with Cutler Real Estate. I've been in the real estate business for over 32 years, and I've helped over 2,300 families buy or sell real estate. To find out more, check out my reviews at DominicFonte.com. If you're wondering what your house is worth, go to domwhatsmyhouseworth.com to get a complimentary home evaluation. That's domwhatsmyhouseworth.com. Or you can reach me at 330-418-1535.
Getting your guaranteed maximum refund with TaxSlayer feels like discovering a refund tree has grown in your backyard.
I'm the refund tree.
Sawing off its branches.
Hey.
Feeding them through a wood chipper.
My branches! My beautiful branches!
And dancing in its refund rain. Start for free and get your guaranteed maximum refund. TaxSlayer. File fearlessly.
WHBC AM 10, reliable as ever on News Talk 1480 WHBC.
From the News Talk 1480 WHBC newsroom, the SATs will be going digital next year internationally and by 2024 in the U.S. While it will be online and they'll be shorter, students taking the SATs will still need to be at a test monitoring site. 2 fraternities at Bowling Green State University have been suspended for alleged hazing and excessive alcohol consumption. The Phi Delta Theta fraternity was suspended until fall of 2024. Delta Chi will have a current suspension extended to the fall of 2026. A Texas woman was arrested after an encounter at a Walmart store where she's accused of offering another shopper $500,000 to buy her baby. According to police, the 2 women were in the self-checkout line at a Walmart near Houston last week. Trader Joe's, the popular national chain of neighborhood grocery stores, is opening up a new location in Menor next Friday. The 9,900 square foot store is the company's 7th location in Ohio, the 3rd in Northeast Ohio. 2 other stores are in Westlake and Woodmere. Still none coming to this area. Tonight, we will have a very special broadcast for you on WHBCSports.com, our stream. The Royal Knights Special Olympics basketball game against the Columbiana Comets. It all gets underway at 7 o'clock. Don't miss it. Dan Belford and Denny Kincaid will have the call. For News Talk 1480 WHBC, I'm Pam Cook.
Your severe weather station, News Talk 1480 WHBC.
Here's your AccuWeather forecast. Partly sunny, very cold day today. High 17, clear, bitter cold tonight, low 3. Clouds increasing for tomorrow, the high at 29. Snow at times tomorrow night could get 1 to 3 inches and a low 24. Some snow on Friday, little or no accumulation, the high at 28. Partly sunny, cold day on Saturday, the high for Saturday at 20. I'm Steve Williams for News Talk 1480 WHBC.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Your family deserves the purest water possible, and Verndale Water Experts have been providing pure perfection and water softening for over 60 years. They know more about clean, affordable water than anyone. Verndale is pure perfection. Visit VerndaleWater.com. Verndale Water Experts.
Welcome back to this morning's Spotlight on this Wednesday morning. We're joined by real estate expert Dominic Fonte from Dominic Fonte and Associates and Cutler Real Estate. That's a mouthful. That's a mouthful. But I understand branding. I understand also, working in the grand scheme of things with Cutler. Dominic, we've been having a great conversation all morning. What would you say is the median age of client that you're working with to try to find that forever home? Everyone thinks their first home is their forever home until they start having kids.
Right. So I would just say this, it's all over the place, honestly. I mean, I have people, so I deal with the buying and selling. So if you think about real estate, there's a person that's thinking of buying that really doesn't maybe understand where to start. So that's the first call I get. And then normally we would set them down. So this would be the younger buyer. We'd set them down and we have a 15-step process we run them through so they understand what the process looks like, because it's not only financial, but it's very emotional. So we want to make sure that, it's like anything, I have these thoughts, but is it something that's right for me? Is it something realistic? So you have to kind of do like the consultation to understand where they're at. So that would be the first time buyer, which would be the younger people, right? So once we go through the process, then they make a decision. Yep, this sounds good. This is exactly what I'm looking to do. They may not have a family at this point. They may be by themselves. They may be married. Who knows? So that would be step one. Then step two is that's the potential buyer. And then they make the decision that makes sense to them. Now they become a buyer. So now we put them through the process of how do we help them get the best thing based on their budget, based on their location, based on their amenities. Okay, so that's step one. Step two would be, there's other people that are like, I want to do this. I'm a little bit afraid to dip my toe in the water. I'm not really sure. Like I've been renting for many years and I keep hearing maybe I should buy because, here I'm going to grow old and be, just renting the rest of my life. So that's maybe a slightly older customer, right? So that would be on one side of the spectrum. The other side of the spectrum would be, I've been in Florida for 25 years. I'm getting up in age. And, we kind of feel like we need to get back to our family. So we're going to move back to the snow and all this nasty weather. Yeah. And we're going to buy a little ranch. And we're going to stay here at least half a year and then maybe just rent a place in Florida now. So we're going to sell our place, buy a place, be close to the kids, the grandkids. This just happened to me last night again. So someone just bought a house last night in like zero weather because they're moving back to be close to the kids and grandkids. So that would be a retiree type person. Now, these are still buyers, right? So now let's flip to the seller side. I'm in trouble financially. I lost my job. I have to sell my house. And instead of giving it back to the bank through a foreclosure, which happened a lot in 2008, people have equity now. So even if you are in a pickle or a hard shape, you sell it, you pay off the debt, you go rent a while, get back on your feet, put some money in your pocket. So that's the hardship situation. That's all different ages. And then you have the people that say, you know what? I've been in my entry-level home for several years. We kind of like to build a place. So now instead of buying an existing home, we want to build something. So then they have to sell a house, they have to buy a house. And that might be someone in their like early 40s, right? And then you might have someone that's in their 50s or 60s that are kind of like, trying to figure out what do we do? What's our next move? We've been in our house, our kids are out of school, they're in college. We don't really need all this house. So like, how do we go about like, do we have to sell first? We maybe can't buy first. So we have to sell first. And then where do we go if our house sells before we find something? So there's a whole bunch of information that you want to calm the waters. And not all agents are created equal. Obviously, I've been doing this a long time, helped many, many people. I understand the pain and suffering that most people go through. And like I said, this isn't an everyday occurrence for most people. So I think it's super important, again, to kind of have the consultation, have a conversation. It isn't like it costs you money to have the conversation. I think the most important thing is to get informed that's going to make sense to you and your family or whatever your situation is. And then with confidence, you can go forward with whatever that is, buying or selling. And in a lot of cases, people are like, you know what? I'm not sure about the economy. Maybe I should consider buying an investment property because it'll go up in value. It's a tax benefit. I can pay off the mortgage over time, the landlord or the tenant would, right? And then I have an asset. So I have residual income coming in from the asset. Now, a lot of times, how can I think like that when I'm thinking about, I just want to buy my house?
Yeah.
So it's just important to know the full spectrum of everything. And I think if you reach out to me, Dominic Fonte at 330-418-1535, that's 418-1535. I'll be more than happy to sit you down. And if you're uncomfortable with sitting down and face-to-face, like what Jordan and I are doing now, we can do a Zoom call. I can talk to you on the phone. We can conference you in, or we can meet face-to-face 6 feet apart.
Yeah.
So whatever would make sense to you and your loved ones. The most important thing is to get educated. Make sure you're dealing with an expert. Find someone that has good reviews, someone that's tried and true. Because like I said, if you only do this 2 or 3 times in your whole life and you have a bad experience, it sours everything. And again, so you look at companies. So you got Dominic Fonte and Associates. I work at Cutler Real Estate. So I have a small business under the umbrella of Cutler. So you always want to focus in on, if you're working with a specific agent, kick the tires, make sure they're the right agent for you, because if not, it's a very costly mistake. And I promise you, you don't want to be the guinea pig. So it's always important. Just check things out. Okay.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And everyone's situation is different though, because there are some people by, early 20s, they're ready to purchase that home because they've been saving since they were a teenager. They did stuff right with their credit. Then I know people that they're not buying their first home until they're 45
right.
or 50. There's no shame about that. There's no shame. Everyone's different.
You know what? It's never too late to get in the game.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that I see a lot is that, I'm not like right now, it's hard to believe that 32% of the people that are buyers right now that were surveyed think it's a good time. What about the other, 70%? What are they thinking? So that tells me that we have a breakdown in the message. Because like I said in the beginning of the segment, if you have historically low rates, even at 3.2, anybody that's been around a while, that's still historically low rates. The only thing is that the prices are going up a little bit more than normal. However, it's not unaffordable unless those rates go up to 6 or 8 or 10%.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, you would lock in today. And then let's say it keeps going up some, the rates, you're locked in. See, that's the hedge against inflation that you don't really think about because you're overwhelmed with all the other things at the gas pump, in the grocery store, things like that, COVID. There's a lot of distractions right now to help you fall off the message. So that's why I'm on the radio show today, is because I always come back to the heart of the teacher, being an informed decision maker, and it's based on facts, not fiction. So that's why I said headlines terrify, they don't clarify. So it's super important to make sure that you know exactly what's happening, not on the headlines, but in your backyard. So like if your backyard's Canton, your backyard's in Greene or somewhere else in the state of Ohio, because that's where I tend to work. It's super important to understand what the market is doing right now. If you're a buyer or a seller, what's really happening. And at that point, you're going to be making an informed decision, and you'll be thanking me down the road. I promise you. Even if you don't use me, just listen to the information I'm sharing. And if you want to see videos, you want to see more information, go to DominicFonte.com. You can learn some stuff there, or go to my Facebook page. I have a real estate one, a community one. There's a lot of videos on YouTube. And I think what will happen is I give 2-3 minute segments of what is really happening, so that the perception will really be the reality to you, and you won't be with the rest of the people with perception.
Yeah. Perception is a huge thing.
It is. It really is.
I rent right now, but I also know the house that I'm in right now, I don't want to be in forever. Within the next year, my goal is to purchase a home. Okay, I have my own time frame, Dom, but that doesn't mean that within a year I'm going to own a home.
So Jordan, think of this, Jordan. So like right now, with all what we're talking about, we've done this once before, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So you're thinking, okay, I kind of need to maybe eventually buy. I know that's the right thing to do, but it's a little scary. I don't know if I have enough money. I'm not sure if I can afford it. So those are the reasons why I have the meeting, the consultation, to help you understand what are the kinds of things we look at, and when I say we, it would be the lender where you're getting your loan. And a lot of people think, well, you know what, I got to save more money because I don't want to pay this PMI or this MIP, which is mafia money, I call it. And it's basically money you have to pay when you don't have 20% skin in the game. But the problem is that when you think of buyers like you, a first-time buyer, usually it's between 6 and 7%. So if you bought a $100,000 house, that would be $6,000. So you don't need $20,000. You could buy a house with 3.5% down, and they have grant programs now where you can actually get half that paid from a grant by just understanding the navigation process. And I think that's why it's important when you meet with your agent that they understand what programs will benefit you as someone that's kind of just trying to dip your toe in the lukewarm water.
Hey, Dominic, we have to take a break here, but when we come back, I want to talk a little bit about, I do want to talk a little bit about some of the loans, FHA, and everything that we can regarding that, because all of the loans, they're a little bit different as well. So we'll be right back with this Wednesday's edition of Spotlight right here on News Talk 1480 WHBC.
Pam Cook and Canton's Morning News.
We want to hear from you.
I like that it's local.
This is the right place.
Live from the downtown Canton studios of WHBC.
The Roadman Kenny Rhoda here for Froggy's Car Wash with 2 locations for your convenience. One of them there in Perry Township, and the newest, bestest, and largest car wash at Belton on Everhard Road. Get unlimited car washes for one price, starting with plans at $20 a month plus free vacuums. That's unlimited washes all month long for less than $1 a day, and you won't find a car wash that gets your car cleaner than Froggy's. The foam waterfall, the hot wax, the tire shine, paint protectant, and spot-free drying rinse. All the soap they use is non-corrosive, won't hurt your car, and they have high-powered blowers leaving your car dry and spotless. Love that. It's fast. It's easy. It only takes minutes while you stay in the car. What are you waiting for? Take advantage of Froggy's and what they have to offer in the new year. Unlimited monthly plans with free vacuums starting at just $20 a month. So take your car to Froggy's Car Wash with 2 locations, including the newest one that's now open at Belton Village on Everhard Road, and tell them the Roadman sent you.
At Packley, they pride themselves on serving families in Massillon and the surrounding areas with dignity, respect, and compassion. The families they serve are their top priority and have set measures in place to help protect and accommodate the elderly, sick, and members of the public, and will make every effort to accommodate families in making arrangements, conducting services in any capacity needed to ensure their safety and comfort while honoring their loved one. Packley, serving the community with grace and compassion.
Hello, my name's Dominic Fonte with Cutler Real Estate. I've been in the real estate business for over 32 years, and I've helped over 2,300 families buy or sell real estate. To find out more, check out my reviews at DominicFonte.com. If you're wondering what your house is worth, go to domwhatsmyhouseworth.com to get a complimentary home evaluation. That's domwhatsmyhouseworth.com. Or you can reach me at 330-418-1535.
Tired of seeing sold out on COVID tests at the store? Head over to Any Lab Test now on Dressler Road next to the UPS store. Fast and accurate COVID testing, open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, Saturday, 10 to 1. Simply call or text 330-915-8232. Any Lab Test now. Fast, affordable, and accurate lab testing for virtually anything, including COVID-19. Any Lab Test now. 330-915-8232. AnyLabTestNow.com.
Do you have taxiety? That uncertain feeling before doing your taxes? Connect with Liberty Tax and then just breathe in and cash out.
Get your refund faster with direct deposit to a Deep Blue debit account.
Deep Blue.
Visit StopTaxiety.com to schedule your appointment, and let's end taxiety. Liberty Tax. Faster access to funds based on comparing refunds via direct deposit versus a mailed paper check. Terms and conditions apply.
Look, staying healthy isn't easy. Watching your diet,
hitting the gym, avoiding stress. But a good night's rest helps boost your overall health and wellness. And it couldn't be easier. The Sleep Number 360 smart bed effortlessly adjusts and responds to both of you. The result? You wake up ready for anything. Proven quality sleep is life-changing sleep. And now, during our January sale, save $1,000 on the Sleep Number 360 Special Edition smart bed, plus special financing, only for a limited time. Special financing subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. See store for details.
When you fill your prescriptions at Walgreens, you can track the progress of your order in real time. Know the price of your prescriptions before you go to pick them up. And anytime you have questions, use Pharmacy Chat to ask an expert 24 hours a day. Help with your meds from Walgreens. Side effects may include breathing a little easier because your prescription stress melted away. Learn more on the Walgreens app.
This price isn't final. This is an estimated price based on your insurance coverage.
Calling all coffee lovers. Hold on to your mugs because Panera's Unlimited Sip Club is offering the unreal deal of unlimited coffee for only $8.99 a month. Don't worry, you're not dreaming because when we say unlimited, we mean unlimited. Unlimited boosts all day long. Unlimited smells of your favorite aroma. Unlimited sips of premium hot and iced coffees. Sign up on our app today to get your first month free. Panera, the familiar made fantastic. Plus tax, first free month, limited time offer. Restrictions apply. For complete details, visit www.panerabread.com/unlimited sip club.
Welcome back to this Wednesday Spotlight right here on News Talk 1480 WHBC. Welcome back, Dominic Fonte with Dominic Fonte and Associate. Dominic, the different kind of loans that are out there. I know FHA is one of the popular ones for first-time home buyers. Is that what you would recommend to some of your clients?
Okay, so there's several choices here. So a lot of times FHA, you think of it as a first-time home buyer program. Well, it's really not. What it is, it's a program that you could buy up to a certain limit, and the limit's high. I can't remember what it is right now, like 475, which is a lot, 475,000. So technically, what FHA is if you're not an investor. So let's say this is your first home or your second home, but you only have one FHA loan, right? You could buy the home with 3.5% down. So just for easy math, $3,500 based on 100, $7,000 based on 200. And this is one where, depending on negotiations, you can have the seller negotiate in to pay all your closing costs with your loan. So technically, with the credit you get from the taxes and other things, you could technically get into the home for like 3% or less, which is shocking.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, if you're a veteran, a veteran with the DD-214 and eligibility, you could get into a home with zero out of pocket. Okay. That's another way. A conventional loan, when you think of conventional, a lot of times you think, okay, 20% or whatever. And that's what scares a lot of people. But again, you can get into a conventional loan with 5% down. And, there's little variations like how good your credit, what's your debt and income ratio. There's certain things they look at that will affect the rate a little bit. Okay. There's what's called a USDA loan. And so a lot of times people will use this loan in more rural areas. Like if you say you're in a certain area and it has like an acre of ground, and you could buy that with like virtually no money as well. There's also assumable loans, which you don't hear as much about now, but let's just say if the rates go up high, like they did in the 80s, technically, if you have good credit, you could assume that loan for like $500 and assume the balance of the loan and assume the interest rate of the loan. So those aren't popular today because the rates have been so historically low for so long, but that's another tool. And the other one is land contract, lease purchases. So sometimes, like if you're self-employed and you have a little hurdle or something in your credit in the past, sometimes with a little down payment, the owner may be the bank for you and carry the financing, and you make payments to them. And there's other ways of doing it. I would say OFA, that's another thing. So that's like a bonding kind of thing where, like, if let's say you're getting a FHA loan, 3.5% down, and your income's not super duper high, you could actually get this OFA, gift in a way for basically, half the down payment. So you're putting 1.5 or 1% of your own money into the game, and you're getting into the game. And the game is owning real estate. Now, we were talking 30-year loans. So like, am I stuck in my home for 30 years? And when you're a young person, you're like, oh my goodness, I'm going to be 60 years old before this thing's paid for. So at that point, you say, wow, you could sell it, move on, buy something else. You could even turn it into a rental, rent it, have a source of income, and go buy another house. So there's all kinds of things. And I think that's part of it is today, I think the goal would be is just to let people know there's tons of options. All agents aren't created equal. You want to talk to a local expert and explore all the options. And then at that point, make an informed decision that makes sense to you and your family. And you can then build wealth like a lot of the people that are very well off. And it starts with owning real estate. So I don't know how much time we have left in this segment. How much time do we have?
We have about 2 minutes.
Oh, good. So is there any other questions that you've heard from your listening audience, maybe a text or anything else that anybody has a question on I could answer quickly before we wrap up?
I had a family member, they're listening right now, they're enjoying this segment, but they want to know, why is it important to go with someone local, a local agent who knows the area? To me, I like local. I like people who know what they're talking about. And you, Dominic, you and your team know the area that these people are looking into.
Well, like, again, I always go back to perception reality. So the perception is that if you haven't done real estate purchases or sales, and if you had a bad experience or you heard a bad experience, or you're just not sure, because there's a lot of us out there, you want to make sure you pick the right person based on understanding the local market of wherever you are, and having a track record and having reviews and experience. That's going to make your experience better and more seamless. And so I think that's super important. But a lot of times the perception is we're all the same. It's like, what do you charge? What do you charge? What do you charge? But you're all basically the same. That could be further from the truth. And if we ever talk about another segment, we'll get into all that, why that is. But I would just say, it's as a buyer's agent, like working for a young man or a person that wants to buy a piece of real estate, you're not paying them a fee to help you. You're hiring them to work on your behalf, and how they get compensated is on the house you find. There's usually a commission built into the house you find, and that's how your buyer's agent gets compensated. You don't technically write them a check.
Yeah.
Some people think that. So it's kind of important to know that. And there's other things. So if you have further interest and you want to know more about this, you want to be an informed decision maker and talk to someone that really gets it. And you don't have to believe me. You can look me and check me, kick the tires, but go to DominicFonte.com, which is my website. And I have more than 338 5-star reviews. And if you read some of those, that will probably alleviate some of your worry that I would be a good choice to at least have a conversation with. And then you would understand what you would experience working with me and my team. I have other people, Zev Braun, who works on my team, who specializes with the buyers. My son also joined the team. He's licensed, Dominic Jr. I have an unbelievable office manager, Nikki Motz, who's been with me several years, who kind of helps managing all the systems so that as a potential buyer or seller, you're informed, communicated with the way you like to be, and you're never going to say, Dom, I've never heard from you. I don't know what's going on. That just is not going to happen.
Hey,
Dom, if you want to send me an email, Jordan, or anybody, go to Dominic at DominicFonte.com. I know it's complicated. It's my name, Dominic at DominicFonte.com. Or you can always text or call me at 330-418-1535. And I wish you and your families a wonderful 2022. And don't hesitate to call.
Hey, Dominic, thank you so much for spending the last hour with us. Great information. If I know if I took it, if I'm leaving here with great info, so is everyone listening or watching this on Facebook right now. Thank you again, Dom. And if you've been listening,
I hope the listeners that are listening gain some knowledge, and hopefully will be an informed decision maker as well. So God bless you and your family, and I hope you guys have a great 2022.
All right. You've been listening to Spotlight on this Wednesday morning right here on 1480 WHBC.
Ready to start earning $18 to $19.50 an hour while having a set schedule? ARE, the truck cap and cover manufacturer in Massillon and Mount Eaton, is